So then we started asking her like, okay, so why are you having a trip to Israel, to a country that, occupies a group of people? And she was like, this is not a question for me. This is a question for the higher ups. If some faculty advisor were to host a trip to Russia or Ukraine, would that be allowed? She responds with, absolutely not.
Why are you grabbing her?
You can speak to our lawyer.
Don't grab her, don't grab her. You are a C student.
Okay, I just know.
And we noticed that the ones waiting in the waiting room were people with Arab-sounding names, such as myself, Janine, Soha. So we kind of had this bright idea, like, okay, if they're not letting me in for my real name, what happens if I change it to a fake name? So I myself changed my name to Rebecca Goldstein, and I barely waited even a minute or two, and I was quickly allowed into the Zoom. I myself was asking a question as to why they were hosting a trip to a country that, occupies a group of people and participates in genocide and ethnic cleansing. And as I was asking this question, the facilitators muted me during my question.
And I was the first one to ask a question. I said, hi, my name's Haley. I just had a question about me, a Palestinian citizen. So I hold Palestinian ID and passport. So my movement is really restricted whenever I go to Palestine and Israel. I can't really go to anywhere that's not the West Bank. I had asked that question. I was like, how are you going to guarantee even me entering into Tel Aviv? And she had answered saying, oh, well, I have Israeli citizenship and American citizenship, and I have always been able to get into Israel. And I was like, okay, but that's not the same thing. There was a complete air of ignorance when it came to that when it came to that topic, and you can tell that she had really no idea what she was talking about.
So then we started asking her okay, so why are you having a trip to Israel? It's an apartheid state. They are, participating in genocide, so on and so forth. And she was like, this is not a question for me. This is a question for the higher ups. It's out of my power. So then I was like, okay, I have a question for you. I was like, if some faculty advisor or whoever were to host a trip to Russia or Ukraine with the current ongoing invasion of Ukraine, would that be allowed? She responds with, absolutely not. So I'm like, so if that is an absolutely not, why are we going to Israel as they are currently invading and occupying Palestine? She responds with, that is a question for the higher ups. It is out of my control.
We basically were going to hand out those flyers and put them up in the physical education building. As we were doing that, there was a professor who basically went up to us and said, you guys are causing a disruption. If you don't leave right now, we're going to call the police. And either way, we were just kind of like, okay, we didn't want any problems. So we got into the elevator, and when we got down to the first floor, so between the time it took to get from the second floor to the first floor of that building, the doors opened and there was about 3 or 4 police officers.
As we were all walking away, he grabbed me by my scarf and my hijab and said, whoa, where are you going? You can't walk away, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. And I was like, okay, why are you grabbing me? I just can I just leave? There's no there really is no need for us to stay here right now. He grabbed me again, and this one was actually pretty forceful. I was actually watching the video back last night, and I realized he actually was pushing me into the wall. I think my trauma response blocked that out. And then after he grabbed me that second time, and I said, why are you grabbing me? I'll show you my ID if that's what you really want. He said, yeah, I want to see your ID, and also you guys are all detained right now. You guys can't go anywhere.
So the next step would be for the Department of Education to evaluate the complaint and if they view the claims in the complaint as falling within their jurisdiction, to conduct an investigation of UIC. From what we've seen, the evidence seems clear, and so I think it would be easy for the government to make a finding of a violation of these students' civil rights. The students have demanded an apology from the school. They've demanded education for the people that are involved, and more broadly for faculty and staff about anti-Palestinian and anti-Arab and anti-Muslim racism. I think there's, an institutional interest in preventing people from understanding what's going on. And so these students, they're putting on events, they are putting out social media posts, they are telling people about what's going on in Palestine. They're drawing attention to discriminatory programs at the university. And the university instead is trying to promote pro-Israel propaganda through trips like this.
The oppressor has now become the oppressed. The bully has now become the victim.
Now we must show support to them. We must come out and we must resist. Palestine will be free!
As the Western world reaffirms their support for the Israeli government, the people of Palestine are once again forgotten, forced to fend for themselves. But what does Palestinian resistance really mean to the hearts of everyday people? And how supported do they feel? Well, today I'm at the protest to find out.
Palestine! Palestine! Palestine!
Palestinian resistance is important to not just me, but the entire population of Palestine, because the international community, they've abandoned us. They don't care about us anymore.
The biggest open-air prison in the world. It's been happening for too many decades. It's the ethnic cleansing and genocide of innocent people on stolen land.
They call us terrorists, they call us backwards, they call us savages. They don't care about us anymore. 70 years of occupation, of apartheid, of treating us like not even second-class or third-class citizens, treating us like animals, putting us in cages. We're not allowed to move around in our own country. We have to get papers and confirmations whenever we want to leave an area and go to another area. It's not a way for anyone to live.
Palestinian resistance is really the resistance of the whole world. We learn nothing from apartheid South Africa, and Palestine has been suffering apartheid all these years. If you back someone into a corner, they have to come out fighting. And we across the world have to realise that our rotten governments aren't going to do it for us. We have to stand and do it.
What would you say to people who just conflate the whole issue about it being anti-Semitic?
It's nothing about religion. Wallahi, there's non-Muslim Palestinians. This has nothing to do with religion.
This is not a religious conflict. The Palestinians, where we have a Jewish identity, we have a Christian identity, we have a Muslim identity. Palestine is the land of all three religions. This isn't a religious battle. We want our land back. Israel is an ethno-state. This isn't fair to us. It isn't fair to the Christians. It isn't fair to the Jews, the ethnic Jews of Palestine. This isn't about religion. This is about our right to self-determination, our right to live a dignified and proper life in our own land.
When I first went to that part of the world, every car I got in when I hitchhiked told me the same story. Don't talk to Palestinians, don't get in a Palestinian car. It's like they've all been brainwashed to say the same thing, and we have to fight that.
We have to be very careful with the terminology. It's a fight of the oppressed against the oppressors. It's never a conflict. It's a fight for freedom. It is the last colonial case in the world. South Africa has done it before us. Many different nations have done it before us. It only needs resilience. It only needs compassion. It only needs education. It is only a matter of when. It is not a matter of if.
In fact, we'll start tonight in the Middle East, where Israel...
What? Israel isn't supposed to defend itself?
Oh, yeah, if Mexico bombed Texas, will we exercise
restraint? What other country held to the same standard as Israel? People that want to destroy her terrorists?
4,000-year claim. It's the only democracy in the Middle East, you
self-hating Jew?
That was weird. Anyway, what I was saying was last Thursday saw the start of a new ground offensive launched by Israel.
Oh, Tradition!
Holy look, obviously there are many strong opinions on this issue, but just merely mentioning Israel or questioning in any way the effectiveness or humanity of Israel's policies is not the same thing as being pro-Hamas.
So you're against murdered children?
Free Gaza! Free Palestine! Illegal occupation! The Zionist pig!
You know what? Why don't we just talk about something lighter, like Ukraine?
Yeah, I'm good with that.